So it's been a few years, but this year I decided it was a good idea to give you my automation wish list for 2024 and beyond. Before we go too far, I'm going to give you my ideas, but I know that you have some too. So put them in the comments. I pretty much read every comment. I might even reply. But yeah, who knows? Maybe your ideas will appear in the game at some point. I know mine have actually, which is interesting. I've done one of these before a long time ago. One of the ideas that I had was making the gearing so that there's an extra tab that you can go into and then adjust it manually for every gear, and they actually ended up doing that. Whether or not it was from my idea or another person in the community or just the community in general, I don't know, but in some ways I'd like to think that I had an effect on the game. So here's 5-ish things that I think we can hope for in the future and maybe improve the game a little bit. Let's get into number 1. So what I want to see is the separation of sandbox and campaign. Now right now in campaign you use the sandbox builder and most of its options. Just recently they added racing spec tires to the sandbox, and I believe it's just in the sandbox and not in the campaign. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, this is a good step in the right direction, and I kind of want to see more of that. One of the things I've been wishing for a long time has been unbreakable parts, just stuff that is like, let's say pistons that are not breakable at all. That would be extremely cool for sandbox purposes. I think the devs have been afraid of adding things to the game that are unrealistic, and I can understand that for the campaign. Like if you want to keep the campaign or the tycoon aspect of the game realistic, then sure. But for the sandbox, I say let's just go wild. Let's just put like unbreakable pistons, unbreakable conrods, unbreakable components, and like I know we have ridiculous fuels and stuff, but why not have unlimited octane? Let's just like add in every option to go unlimited so we can push the game to its limits. That's what I want to see. The next two ideas that I have kind of focus on new player integration versus old player stimulation. But basically, if you've been playing this game for a long time, then you're used to the controls, you're used to the menus, you're used to how the game works. And for me, I mean, I have like 300 hours in automation. That's nothing compared to a lot of people in the community. But I'm very used to how the game works after that time. I wouldn't say that I've mastered it, but I understand it. So when they add new things, it just furthers my interest in the game. It's like there's a new thing here, new thing there, that gets me back into it. But the problem is that the more new things that get added, the more complex the game gets. And then somebody who's coming from nothing, or maybe has just seen a video or something and is like, hey, let me try out this game, they're going to get really lost in the game. And so I was thinking about complexity and how to manage that. So what I want to see, my wish list item number 2, is don't be afraid of complexity, but don't be afraid of hiding it as well. And what I mean is, the best example I can give is with the gearing stuff. We have 2 options for gearing. We have a more simplistic option that's just, I believe, 4 sliders where you can pick your top speed, your first gear, and whatever, depending on the transmission that you choose. And that's the easy option. But then when you click into a submenu, you get the complicated full readout of every gear, and you can tune each gear individually. And that's the kind of thing that I want to see more of in the game, where there's a basic version and then there's a more complex version if you dig deeper. But I think the basic version is there for the new people and the people who are too lazy to get in depth. That's me sometimes too. But the complex option satisfies those who are invested in the game and they want to see this kind of extra depth, such as individual gear picking. That was something that I wanted to do so I can mess with the final drive and the first gear, so I can make my stupid like reverse cars and stuff that I've been doing. But for other people, they want to tune gears for better performance, and I love the ability to do that. That was a great addition to the game, but it is complicated. And for somebody who's new to cars, doesn't understand gear ratios, they look at that, they're like, what the heck? So thing number 3 kind of ties into this, and that is templates and presets are really good for new players. And I would say that in my own experience, is way easier to make a car from something that already exists instead of doing it from scratch, because when it already exists, it's already functional, and then you can tweak it basically instead of having to do everything from the beginning. Presets and the AI builder are really good additions to the game. AI tuning is huge, and I really like that, especially with the engine, because tuning engines is difficult in this game. So AI tune for performance, for fuel economy, whatever, I'd love to see that expanded. I like the ability to build a car, like generate a car from AI in the game. I think that's really cool, and I love that that's in there. What I want to see is templates for engines. I want to see like car templates as well. I know that the AI effectively builds those, but for engines specifically, for a new player, it would be nice if the game just kind of comes with a few engines for them to play with. Like if it came with an LS engine to start, or an LS style engine to start, maybe a K-Series Honda style engine to start. Something that is familiar, something that's popular, that can be like, oh, I can LS swap my car, and then they kind of get that connection going, if you know what I mean. I think that's very important for a new player, and this game is not approachable in a lot of aspects, but having templates, having presets can make that a thing. I also think that the average new player is probably more interested in Sandbox than they are in campaign, unless you're one of those people who just really loves tycoon games. I really love tycoon games, but I struggle to get into the campaign for a lot of reasons. I will not get into that in this video, but I love the sandbox in this game, and I think that the majority of people probably do. If they did a poll, it would probably be like 80-90% people are sandbox, 10% campaign. I'd be very interested in that data actually, but my point is that the majority of new people coming into the game probably want to play sandbox. I think it really should be emphasized. That was all point number 3. Believe it or not, it's more complicated than it seems. But let's do a rapid fire for number 4. 2020 plus. We're stuck at 2020 right now. Honestly, the game should be at 2050, maybe 2030 at a minimum. Like, I know that there's a complicated algorithm behind the scenes, like there's a lot of code that keeps the game where it is, but it would be nice to see the ability to advance time further, even if it's just superficial. Like, it would be great to be able to make 2023 model cars, even if it doesn't mean anything different than 2020. I know that it hopefully is an easier thing to do, but who knows behind the scenes. I'd love to see a ton more fixtures. One of the ideas that I had was contract some modders, like people who make really high quality mods, and just have them make like a bunch of really high quality fixtures that can last through different variants of the game. And I know that's money, and I don't know how much budget is left in this game, but yeah, I really think involving the community in that. I know mods are already a thing that people do for free, but pay some modders and have them put some really good high quality mods into the game that just come with the game, instead of having to download them separately from the workshop. A lot of people, I mean, a lot of new players are not going to know to go to the workshop instantly, so they're very limited on the stuff that they have. I know it's been getting better and better, but it's been a while since we had some new fixtures. Bugs are still an issue in the game. There's a lot of issues, like one of the ones that I keep running into is high-powered small engines just don't work in BeamNG. They just grenade. It would be great if those could be fixed. The Lua errors, the bug fixes, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Thankfully, these things do get addressed every patch. Personally, I want to see a Hyundai Tiburon body, and I also want to see an expansion just outside of cars into the realm of vehicles a little bit. Let's do some construction equipment type of bodies. Let's have an official like dump truck or something like that, or semi-truck. That'd be really cool. Okay, my last-ish point, and this is the biggest one, this is the one I want to talk about the most here, because I believe that this is the most important thing, and that is finish the game. Get it out of early access. In preparation for this video, I went back to the Steam page and I read through all of the negative reviews of Automation in the last 3 months, and a little bit beyond that as well. And the resounding sort of thing that is similar between a lot of the reviews, the mean line there is, why isn't this game finished yet? And it's kind of, It's a hard one to talk about because there are a lot of factors that go into this, and one of them is beamng is still in early access, and Automation's future is in a lot of ways tied to beamng. But it would be great if this is the year that Automation leaves early access, and that does not mean much, really. Like, leaving early access is basically just like, this is the game, and this is how it is. So we have a 1.0 version, but that does not mean that the game can't be built upon. It can't be updated. It can't have more fixes. It can't have more like things come out, expansions. And as a little bonus, my sixth idea in this was, why not add EVs and electric motors and make it a DLC? That would be something that could come after the 1.0 version. But I really think that it would bring a lot more audience to this game if it was to be, I want to say feature complete, but that's not really the case, because I think of other games that have kind of done this, where they've come out and then they've just grown and grown over time and just changed drastically from where they were at the beginning. No Man's Sky is a good example, but that game came out in a really sorry state, so it's a bit different. I would hope that Automation wouldn't come out in a sorry state, but let's just use it as an example. Like, when the game came out, there were a lot of things missing, and then over time they've added expansions for free and a lot of big updates to the game, and it's still popular. It's still a popular game, and it's pretty much where it was, or where it was supposed to be when it came out and beyond, right? And that's kind of what I was thinking for Automation. Everybody wants all these updates, and then depending on where you are in the community and how long you've been in the community, you know it takes a long time to get some of these things. Superchargers and stuff have been promised for years, and they're finally coming soon. Hopefully 2024 is the actual year that it comes out and it actually gets implemented well. But what I want to see is 2024, let's drop that supercharger update. By drop, I mean actually like put it into the game. So we have superchargers, and then let that be the final big feature before the game gets put out of early access. Just superchargers, huge bug fix patch, just fix everything. Ignore all the other stuff that I said, because honestly it doesn't matter at this point, and put the game out. 1.0 version out of early access after like 12 years or whatever it's been. Automation 1.0. That's what I want to see. So I just wanted to have a little bit of time in the video to say thank you to the devs for supporting this game as much as they do. They do patch the game, and they do put a lot of time into the game. I know that it's a spaghetti code in the background. Automation is essentially a big spreadsheet, and it's hard for them to do stuff because every time they need to change something, it involves basically rewriting a whole section of the game, from what I understand, and that's kind of why it takes so long to get stuff done. It sucks that the back end is as messy as it seems to be, because it would be great if things could come out sooner. I know the team isn't big, but yeah, it would be great if they could come out sooner. Needless to say, I'm still super thankful that this game is updated and growing in its own way. I mean, the community might be the same, but the game itself is getting better and better with every patch. And I mean, this is just a small wish list. I know that there will be more things in the comments. So if you're watching this, any of the developers, check out what the community thinks, check out what my community thinks. And maybe I'm on the right track, maybe I'm super far off, but who knows? I don't know personally. I just like to dream a little bit. That 1.0 version I think is super important. I know that there's like a million things you want to do before that, but yeah, it might be time to just call it and say 1.0 and then start building from there. So just my idea. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I think I should have one more video before Christmas, so there'll be a Christmas video coming up soon. But until then, thank you for watching. I'll see you again next time. Oh yeah, don't forget to check me out on Patreon and also join button stuff. Yeah, I've been trying to be good about those things, but that's how you support the channel, other than just liking, subscribing, and commenting below. And I mean, if you watched it this far, that's good enough. Thank you so much. Check out some of my other stuff, and I'll see you again next time.